My name's Adele Onyango, and welcome to another episode of Legally Clueless. No, seriously, I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. Hey you, welcome to this episode of Legally Clueless. This is what's coming up.
What was just attributing to this nervousness was my grandmother's experience. She looked okay, just like me. She was diagnosed with cancer after being in excruciating pain for a short period of time. So she was in pain for a very short period. It was very aggressive pain. She could barely sleep. So I felt like it was a cycle that here we go again. Jerry can't sleep. Also, my grandmother was not sleeping due to pain. Everything went downhill in a very short period. The same for her. And then now I've been told it's surgery. And for her also, she was told it's surgery. And 3 days after surgery, she succumbed to it. She succumbed to this illness. And I was telling my mom, I don't think I am stronger than my grandma.
That is the final part of Annkia's story. And in case you have not listened to them, you need to listen to the last 2 episodes, 383 and 382, so that you're not like floating, please. Welcome to this episode. If you are an OG member, I've got so much love for you. And if you are a newbie, welcome to the family. Episodes of this particular show go out every single Monday. We have a lot going on here. So Mondays we have this show. You'll get to listen to stories from primarily African women of their lived experiences. On Wednesdays, we have the midweek teas where I unpack different topics that I think can help you on your healing journey. And this Wednesday, I was thinking about it after we recorded it, and I was like, I don't think I've ever gotten that in depth into my experience with divorce. I have a conversation with my personal therapist, Faith, on the Midweek Teas episode this week. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on that, because we have our wellness talk coming up on the 25th of July. So let me just tell you a bit about our wellness talk first. On the 25th of July, we will have my personal therapist, who I now share with you. Her name is Faith Guchu, and I met her smack at the beginning of my divorce and onboarded her as my second therapist, and she quickly became the main chick because she really held my hand, not only through like the emotions that come with divorce, but just unpacking layers of things that I hadn't dealt with yet in such a compassionate way. I do not think I would be here today if it wasn't for Faith. And I say that not to be dramatic, but I've spoken about this before. I'm not trying to put a dumper on anything, but like shit got really dark for me. And I remember negotiating with myself and saying, just hang on until Thursday, because I would go and see Faith every Thursday. Just go hang on until Thursday when you talk to Faith. So she really, oh my goodness, she really did a lot for me, And so we decided, our events lead, her name is Mercy. She's incredible. She came up with this topic and I was like, yes, this will really help women. For our July Wellness Talk, we're going to be looking at when the marriage ends, how do you start finding yourself again? And we're anchoring it on divorce care. And some of the topics we're going to sieve through with Faith, my therapist who's going to be the guest speaker, is the grief that nobody talks about. Everybody is focused on, oh, you're grieving the marriage, but there is a lot more on that list that you're going to be grieving. We talk about the weight of expectations. We talk about untangling yourself from the relationship. So much has to change, even just your daily routine. We're going to talk about at the Wellness Talk, rebuilding your village, your support systems. How do you heal before the next chapter? We're also going to talk about co-parenting. Y'all, I am so thankful I'm child-free. Because, and I'm not laughing at anybody's pain. This is just a laugh of relief. Because I see women go through it You go through the divorce and then now you have to deal with co-parenting. So we're going to address that at the wellness talk, and talk about new realities and rebuilding a life that you love. If you have never attended a wellness talk before, this is one you must attend. And I say this because I have seen how combing through all of this with faith helped me, not only keeping my head above water when I was going through my divorce, but in returning me to myself. Does that make sense? Coming back to who I truly am outside of societal expectations. And really arriving at the question, who am I? As Adele, who am I? Arriving at that question with answers. Because very many women in marriages do not have those answers, do not even have the time to figure out who they are. And so I'm so proud of our events lead for scheduling this talk and this particular topic because it's so necessary. And if you want to attend, first and foremost, wherever you are in the world, you can attend the wellness talk because it's virtual, okay? Wherever you are in the world. So it's on the 25th of July at 10 a.m. East Africa time, and tickets are only 1,000 shillings. You can grab your tickets right now. We have a link in the show notes. Nice and early. We're telling you this nice and early so you can block out that Saturday morning and come through. And one thing I have to say also about our wellness talks is you get to ask questions anonymously. If you are not at the point where you can openly ask questions, we have a hotline where you can send your questions and have an accredited psychologist answer them. And this is a tried and tested psychologist by me. And I can tell you, I don't know how I would have made it through. My voice is even getting shaky. I don't want to cry. I don't know how I would have made it through that year without faith. I don't think I could have made it. I don't think I could have made it. And I'm proud of the work she did, and I'm proud of myself. For 1 year, every Thursday, I was in her office. It didn't matter if I was emotionally out of it, if I hadn't slept, if I wasn't eating, if I just had an argument, if I felt like life is too noisy, if I was tired from work. I was in her office. I would drive to her office every single Thursday. Sometimes, actually, most times it was double sessions. So I'd be there for like 2.5 hours. Hey, I put in the work, yo. I put in the work. And I believe you can put in the work as well. Maybe step one is you coming for the wellness talk. And if you know another woman who can benefit from being at this talk where we're unpacking divorce care, please share the details with her. It's linked in the show notes. So Wednesday, that conversation with me and Faith is coming your way. I admit something in that episode. Even Faith wasn't expecting me to admit it publicly, but there's one regret I have about, decisions I made after my divorce, during my healing journey. I feel like I made one mistake. I don't shame myself about it. I'm just like, yeah, babes, we could have chosen differently. We'll go. But I talk about that on Wednesday. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on that episode. And of course, check out the Wellness Talk details. It's linked in the show notes. So that's Wednesday. We have our newsletter that also goes out. You can sign up on our website. And then on Thursdays, we have for Mannerless Women. We have a special African season currently ongoing. That I'm so glad that we've gotten it out to you. We started off in Ghana. Last week we were in South Africa, and this week we're going to Nigeria with a global icon. And she is a fellow Baldi. That's all I'm gonna say. Subscribe. There's a lot of dope things happening here. And to the OG members, thank you. Look how much we've grown, man. Look how much we've grown. We couldn't have done this without you. All right. I want us to jump into this episode where we have the final part of Ankia's story and just a bit of a recap for you. From part 1 and part 2, Ankia had been searching for answers because she was living in pain since she was 9 years old, and everywhere she was going, the doctors were dismissive. They were treating her for the wrong conditions, taking her through so many surgeries, and then she finally met a doctor who listened, who ordered the right tests, and they discovered a tumor that had been growing for years. And then she was diagnosed with a rare form of bladder cancer. My heart just broke at that point. But in this final chapter, Ankia shares the fear, the uncertainty, and life changing moments that followed her diagnosis. And she takes us through what treatment looked like for her and why we'll never forget the doctor who helped save her life.
100 African stories on Legally Clueless. Stories from Africa.
Like, it was the first time they did this type of surgery in Aga Khan. And I was like, I'm a guinea pig. That's not bad, is it? I was like, okay, that's not stressful. When we went for this appointment, I remember anxiety at its best. And I listened to this doctor. Of course, I have so much faith in him. But when he mentioned that it's the first time they're doing it in Aga Khan, I was worried. I was like, having, like, when you had like a case or two prior to yours, there's what to expect. But when you're the first person, you're this guinea pig, something might go wrong because it's the first time. You're like, okay, these are all professionals, but we're still all human. And it's a first time for everything. This one being the first time that they were doing it, I was very worried. What calmed me down is that my doctor is the only doctor in Aga Khan who has done this surgery before, but in another country. So when they mentioned, oh, don't worry, your doctor has done this procedure in South Africa, I was like, oh God, thank God. I was like, okay, so, but he can't do everything, can he? I was like, when you're in surgery, there are a couple of people in there. It's the first time for everyone except this one person. So there's still that aspect, because you're like, oh, I'm not a mannequin, actually just made of flesh and bones and blood. And there was still that aspect of fear in there. But you're like, fear is the mind killer. What was just attributing to this nervousness was my grandmother's experience, that she looked okay, just like me. She was diagnosed with cancer after being in excruciating pain for a short period of time. So she was in pain for a very short period. It was very aggressive pain. She could barely sleep. So I felt like it was a cycle, that here we go again, that it's the same. Jerry can't sleep. Also, my grandmother was not sleeping due to pain. It's the very short period. Everything went downhill in a very short period. The same for her. And then now I've been told it's surgery. And for her also, she was told it's surgery. And 3 days after surgery, she succumbed to it. She succumbed to this illness. And I was telling my mom, I don't think I am stronger than my grandma. Like, it's that moment where you have complete ego death. Your ego completely dies. You are humbled, and you're like, there's no way that if this person did not defy mortality, there's nothing special about you. This disease is very unforgiving. It has chosen you. It has told you, now, Annkia, you found out that my name is cancer and I am here. I'm going to give you, like, just maybe, let me give you like 10 minutes. Start running before I catch up. I feel like you've been given a timer. You've been told, run before I also come and catch you here. And it was so scary. When you mentioned now surgery, I was like, oh God. Because when I was told, well, I may never have my own children because you're losing a couple of organs, including my reproductive system. So everything that the tumor has touched needs to go. And you're like, oh, okay. And the doctor was very plain. He said, we leave them, you die. And I was like, okay. Like, we leave them. There's no sugarcoating it. He was very honest. So all I could think about is nothing, anyone who is undergoing treatment right now, who has succumbed to this illness, who is in remission, ama they've been told you're in remission, but the cancer is back. There's like all of them. I got to have so much respect for them because they actually have the courage to face this illness and fight it. And when people are in their third battle with it. So what really frustrated me was that I was like, my grandmother was a wonderful human being, and still this thing took her away. Like there's nothing special about me. It will definitely might do the same to me. I decided I'm going to be very honest, and I talked to my mom, and it was like I felt like I was even apologizing. I was telling my mom, like, if I don't wake up, I'm sorry. Like if I don't wake up from surgery, if I don't make it past 3 days post surgery, because that's the most critical time after surgery. Those 3 days, very critical. I was telling her, if I don't make it, I apologize. I apologized to my sister. I was telling her, if you have to move through life without me after this, I tried my best. I did. Like, for sure, I did. And after saying this, unfortunately, I got the worst infection on earth. I got sepsis. I got a life-threatening infection that also almost took me out on 11th March. So we are preparing for this major surgery where these doctors have told you all the risks of this surgery. They've told you loss of life. They've told you nerve damage. They've told you this removing a couple of organs is not easy. They've told you all the risks, and you're preparing for surgery, and I got this terrible infection. So my very sick bladder decided to create these 2 bacteria that almost took me out. So I remember my mom was wreck. My sister was even worse because we got to hospital, and I can tell you that I had 5% control of my body. My heart rate was 141. It's twice for a normal person, twice the heart rate of a normal person. My blood pressure was extremely low. I had body temperature of 40. And I was not there. Everything that happened that night, everything that led to me being taken to ICU at 2 a.m., very foggy. And I was very convinced that I would not make it that day. There's this look that people give you when when you're in that situation. There's a look they were giving me, and nobody had faith that I was actually going to see, tomorrow. How I remember it is, even the doctors in like their accident and emergency department, they looked confused because when you get to hospital, there's this shift that happens when people see your file. So they've seen, tumor, see, no, she's a cancer patient. We're like, okay, and she has these symptoms now. So it's an infection, and she's in pain. So it was this combination of these very terrible symptoms and the pain. And I was like, I told my mom, I cannot do this anymore. I was like, I was ready for surgery, but now I don't know what is happening. I remember my family members started, flooding in the hospital. And everyone would like, they would get to hospital and they would like open that curtain in the casualty department. They would look at you and then someone would give you the look of, oh, this is bad. And you'd see like there are people who could not bear standing there, so they had to like get out of maybe like go to the waiting room or something. So when you're in that situation and everyone around you looks like everyone is crying, someone is either crying or they just look devastated. I was like, well, this is a sad ending. I was like, in that moment, you're like, oh my God, all the things I've not done. Like, this is a terrible way to go. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I've not even finished a certain series. And I said I would always, I said I'll always finish it. I was like, I've not had frozen yogurt in a while, and I promised myself that I'll get some. I was like, I have not accomplished so much career-wise. I was like, this cannot be. That's why I'm telling you, it's proper ego death. And I remember my mom was telling people to pray. And in that moment, your spirituality dies. I don't know about other people, but from my experience, I remember in my head, I wanted to tell my mom, I want someone with a face on. Like when you tell me to pray, I don't know if this person is listening to me. This person I am praying to, who has put me in these trials and tribulations and has said, this is a test for you. I was like, I need someone with a face on who will come and administer something to make this stop. In that moment, it's that bad. You're like, don't tell me to pray to the person I'm about to meet. I don't want to meet them right now. And I did get better. I did traumatize a lot of people. There was a doctor who started crying with my mom because there was a moment where I completely drifted drifted off. And I did traumatize a lot of people. And then it was a whole cycle of when you're in ICU, when they come to see you the following day, you're like apologizing. You're like, okay, I'm sorry for yesterday. I was doing my best. That the first thing I told my doctor when he came to see me in ICU the following day is, Daktari, I did my best. I don't know why I'm always, feel the need to apologize, and you're the one in that situation. You were like, why am I bothering all these people? Well, I don't want to bother all these people. It was not my plan for people to go home at 3 a.m. and leave me connected to a million machines. And in that moment also, I remember picturing that whatever percentage that we were supposed to pay to Aga Khan for surgery, we are now using it for sepsis. I was like, oh God, we're starting, like we have to start all over again now. Whatever percentage of money we had saved and said, this is for surgery and anything that might occur after surgery. And then there's this life-threatening infection that has decided to take that amount of money that you had saved. I remember telling my mom, I feel so stupid. I was like, oh God, why? Like, could it have waited, So I can tell you for a fact that it got to a point where my mind was convincing me that everything is my fault. You are sick, it is your fault. Sepsis, it is your fault. We are in ICU paying 400k deposit, it is your fault, Njeri. And even after ICU, I remember being they decided, you're now a bit better. Let's step you down to the high dependency unit, which is equally as pricey. And I remember thinking, oh God, like I'm really straining people financially. So I was like, and then after HDU, you have to be stepped down again to the normal ward. And I was like, will I ever go home? Or all the cash that you had set aside for surgery, as much as, there's welfare support, they've said, we've seen you a bit able to, to pay a couple of cents. It's now you've poured it down the drain, it's gone. And the main goal, I remember my doctor telling me, like, Annkia, like, relax, like, don't worry, like, you're putting so much stress on yourself, you're not even getting better. Because the goal now was I need to get out of this hospital so that the bill doesn't get to a point where we can't even manage. Yeah. And I completely forgot that, I almost died that night. Moving on to how is everyone doing? Yeah. But I did make it out of hospital, yay. And I did undergo the surgery on that. Sepsis happened on 11th of March. The surgery happened on 28th of March. My doctor was very, he was very, how would I put it? My doctor was looking forward to doing the surgery immediately after sepsis. Like, he was like, we can't give room for sepsis to happen again. So he was like, is she okay? Her vitals are good. Let's do the surgery. We did it on a Saturday at 6 a.m. That's how it was very hands-on. It was like, today, tomorrow, can we do it right now? Yeah, and he had a couple of consultants with him in the room. But he did most of the work, and he did a wonderful job that I'm actually alive right now. I was just wowed, because this person is not even an oncologist. Like, this is not his specialty. His specialty is not cancer. He just wants you to get better. There are people some jobs, it's just a calling that, and this person is best suited for this job, because I felt like it was my own father taking care of me. I remember when I was in ICU, he showed up and he was telling them, can you charge her as a HDU patient instead of an ICU patient? And I'm in ICU. He was like, it's cheaper that way. And I remember he was not even, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, or maybe we'll get in trouble, but when he would make like visits to see me in the wards and in ICU and HDU, he would not bill me. It was like at zero cost. He would show up even over the weekend, like on a Saturday, especially when I had sepsis. He would come on a Saturday, and I was shocked to see him, in just plain clothes, and he was like, how are we doing now? Like, good. He would ask for data and ask, how is she doing? How was her heart rate overnight? And charge me absolutely nothing. And even going to see him for consultations, since the diagnosis, he's charged absolutely 0 shillings. Like, and he moved so swiftly. This is someone, since January. Not everyone gets to say that. I went to see a doctor in January, and on 18th of April, I was declared cancer-free. Hey, not everyone gets to say that. And I think your doctor really matters. That this person got into theater to do a major surgery, and his main goal was, she has to come out alive first, and two, well, how much can welfare support do? Like, it's like, take that paycheck, sir. He's like, no, don't give me the paycheck. Like, how much can you do for her? Like, if the surgery is 2.5M, can you pay for 1.5M? Like, he was very hands-on. He's not malicious. He was just a very kind human being. I can tell you that he was doing things that even my mom, who's a nurse, she has never, seen before, that after surgery, of course, I had a couple of wounds. This person would show up, this doctor, this consultant would show up at exactly 7:30 or 8 a.m. in the morning and do the dressing himself. He would dress those wounds. He would get in, wear his gloves, and he's like, bring me all the essentials. I'll do it myself. The first 3 days post theater, because I told him I was so scared. I told him I lost someone because someone did not, maybe, I don't know. I don't know what happened, but my grandmother didn't. After my grandmother, you know, passed away 3 days post theater, I told him I am afraid. I'm very afraid because I have not heard good things about those 3 days post theater. He would show up every morning, do the dressing himself. And I was told consultants don't do that. Specialists don't do that. They watch nurses do it. You just point out something and go. This person would help you, he'll do the dressing, he'll tell you, I need to see you getting out of bed. Like, let's get out of bed now. Can you take a walk? And, you this, I had so much faith in him and I do not regret it. That's why there was, as much as there were moments of extreme anxiety, because you're like, oh God, surgery is not easy. There were also moments where I was not stressed at all because someone I'm saying I need someone with a face on. This someone with a face on always showed up. Last week I did get an infection that landed me in hospital. And this doctor was when we called him, because my sister called him and he said, you'll find me there. We did find him there. Like, he was waiting. We got there and we were told, your doctor is already here. Because my sister called him and she told him Jerry is experiencing nausea and a lot of pain on her left side, and she's sweating and terrible headache. And he was like, come to the hospital now. So this person, who I remember that day he was in theater all day because he had scheduled a couple of procedures in theater, but he took a break from that and he was like, postpone like the next procedure. Let me go check on Annkia. I was always so happy. I was like, if he's there, everything will be fine. There's unfortunately not every cancer patient gets to have a guardian angel. There are people who take care of you through the data they receive from their offices. Unfortunately. Yeah. And after my experience, my sister and I have been talking about our grandmother's experience. And when you think about it, you're like, there are so many things we wish we would have done for her. I wish we would have met, like the doctor who treated me. We should have met someone like him. Things would have been so different. She would not have been in pain for, even that short period, that sort of aggressive pain. Like, oh, she was a strong person, but, she didn't deserve to be in that level of aggressive pain. You even ask yourself, like, after theater, did she have someone who, dressed her wounds like someone dressed mine? Someone show up at 7:30 or 8 a.m. I don't think anyone did. Unfortunately, her surgery was not as major as mine. That's something that I have learned through my doctor. He told me that when I explained to him what my grandmother was going through, and was like, your grandmother's surgery was a drop in the ocean compared to yours. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm happy that currently he's treating another bladder cancer patient currently. She'll undergo the same surgery that I did, and she's in safe hands. And you tell yourself that probably if Probably would have met the wrong doctor, would have done this surgery. Maybe they would not have done it the way he did. They would have been, probably have not have been alive today. And my family would be asking themselves questions and trying to tell themselves maybe there was something would have done different for Jerry. But I'm in remission right now, that I am counting the days to when I'll be 5 years cancer free. Then we can say, she's safe now. My doctor gave me this news on 18th April. So, of course, he tells you everything, that being in remission doesn't mean that you're completely cured. It means that there are some cancer cells that may have remained in your body. It's just that they have to be on the lookout. I have to undergo tests every 3 months moving forward to make sure that a new tumor doesn't develop. But for now, everything is okay. And this person did his absolute best. That, for most people after surgery, you do need a couple of chemo sessions to get rid of every bad juju. This person did a very good job that I do not need chemo. Like, it's not a normal situation. I'll say it like he did. There's nothing normal about this situation, but also things sort of aligned, that you meet a good doctor at the right time. There's welfare support involved. I remember as I had told you, do you know, like after surgery, when he left that room, he went to talk to my mom, and he told my mom, I have done my best. He said that he did his best. And he assured my mom that even if there will be need for chemo after, he told my mom, like, he said that he had already enrolled me into the free chemo program, that he was not kidding about it. It was like, even if Njeri needs chemo, it will be free for her. He already had this game plan in his head, and it was very, it's not normal. People don't do that. People don't care how you'll, pay for chemo if surgery doesn't, work really. But for him, he was like, I've gotten rid of every cancerous tissue. I've gotten rid of that bad tumor. And for I'm pretty sure you might be curious, because I too was curious. What happens when, a 25-year-old gets a hysterectomy, that my reproductive system had to be removed because it was compromised? What this doctor did was, working with these gynecologists and oncologists, they decided, we'll take Njeri's ovaries and we'll put them where they're aligned with her belly button. So just in case of something like radiotherapy, post-surgery, these doctors made sure that, yes, the reproductive system is gone. If there's radiotherapy post-surgery, my ovaries would be very safe, right next to my belly button. And if I do want to have children in the future, I'll just go back to this very wonderful gynecologist and tell her, how does this fertility thing work? How can I rent a womb? Hey. Because this doctor was like, I remember when we talked last week, he told me he wants me to have a normal life. And that normal life can include children of my own, just that I won't be able to carry them. But he made sure that those ovaries are safe somewhere near my belly button. And also by doing this, he made your ovaries are very, very essential to your body, so that I don't go into immediate menopause. Yeah. or need like hormonal therapy or anything of the sort. He just made sure that everything is normal. It was like just I'll refer you to a good doctor, and he said that all you need to do is you find a good partner, a good understanding man. And he was like, he told me that's my only job here moving forward. And he was like, I'll see you in the next 3 months when we check if, the cancer is back or not. Hopefully it's not. Oh, gosh. It's a wonderful man. He's the only one who'd make me cry. Gosh. My urologist, he's not... if my urologist is listening, hopefully listen to this episode, I'd love for him to know that I never lost faith in him. Like, I'm pretty sure he knows, but it's good for him to hear again that I never lost faith in him, and he made everything seamless. I do hope that anyone who is going through what I went through gets to meet him, because he treats every case like I feel like I was his child. Like there's he gives some sort of very wonderful care to every case. And there are days where I was in so much pain, but seeing him made everything better. As long as he was in the room, it's like when sepsis happened, all I wanted was for him to show up and make everything better, because I knew, as long as around, everything would be better. Going for surgery, for a major surgery, I remember I kept saying, like, some people lose their lives, and that didn't faze me, because I knew he would not let that happen. Don't know, he doesn't have like control over life and death, but I was not worried. I'm still finding like the words that will be like enough to thank him. Nothing feels sufficient to tell this person, like, you actually, even before going into theater, you actually thought of me, and you said, let me enroll Annkia into that free chemo program before I take her to theater. So that means that he too had faith in everything that he was doing. And I love that. He has this attention to detail that I absolutely love. But it's not, I feel so seen and heard. And I feel like thank you does not suffice to tell this person thank you for seeing me and listening to me and moving so swiftly that it seems unreal when you tell someone you are diagnosed on 20th February and declared cancer-free on 18th February. It will never make sense. 18th April, sorry. Seems unreal, like being diagnosed on 20th February and being declared cancer-free on 18th April. In the same year. Like, doesn't make sense. And that's because of him. Like, and do you know, like, he when I told him I don't know how to thank him, he was telling me, like, that's his job. Like, he was like, you're young, I felt the need to help you, you should have a normal life. And I was like, is this normal for this person? That's just who he is. And that's a gift. To even know, I lack words. So he's a wonderful human being. He looks like a teddy bear. He's a beard. He's warm and fuzzy. He's a wonderful person. And And at first glance he looks mean because he wears spectacles and he looks very mean and doesn't smile. But once you get to know him, he's so warm and he laughs and he's hilarious. Well, yeah. The downside of all this is that I won't get to see him as much. Now I get to see him after every 3 months, and I'm looking forward to seeing my doctor. I'm like, oh, when's the next time? So that he jokes about how he wants me to be as as plump as him now that I'm better. Yeah.
Catch more African stories in the next episode of Legally Clueless.
That was the final part of Annkia's story. How powerful. How powerful. I have so many takeaways. The first one that I hope you've taken away as well is when she was talking about being at the point where she was not sure she was going to make it. And she was like, there's a series I didn't finish. I didn't have as much froyo as I wanted. Frozen yogurt, that is. And I remember thinking at that point, it's so interesting. When we are alive and well, the things we think that matter are things like capitalism has told us matter. So the car, the house, how much money we have, what clothes are we able to afford, all of these things, right? That capitalism told us matter. When you sit from a very grounded point with your life and you think about what truly matters, what you're truly grateful for in a day, in 24 hours, at the end of the day, when you sit and say, oh, I'm really grateful for ABCD. Most of the times it's like feelings, it's laughter, it's love, it's a chance conversation with a stranger or somebody who showed you kindness. Just like a sidebar, I remember when I was looking for houses, I was fresh out of my divorce, so I was still very like broken, emotional. And I had so many agents helping me. One morning I was having a very rough morning emotionally. And I had been crying the whole morning, but I got in my car and I went to meet the agent. And this man who I'd never seen before, I didn't know this man. This was my first time meeting him. We'd only spoken like on phone. He had brought me juice. He was unwell that morning, so he was a couple of minutes late and he had stopped to buy himself medicine and he bought himself juice and he thought, you know what, let me get her juice as well. And I remember it was mango juice. I hate mango juice, but that was the tastiest mango juice I have ever had in my life. So many years later, I still remember that. Whenever I pass the house that he took me to view, which was like, the house was just too big. I was one person and this guy was taking me to like, it was like 6-bedroom. It was beautiful, like wooden loft and all this. And I was like, brother, it's just me. But whenever I drive past it, I always think about him and how he showed me kindness. These are the things that matter. And I'm not saying that, a roof over your head, food on your table doesn't matter. But go back to when Annkia was talking about being at that point where you're staring death in the face. What truly matters? And what I want you to take away from that is work backwards, hey? Live your life knowing what would truly matter to you when you're facing death in the face. Be very clear. The things that are capitalistic, and yes, you have to have contact with capitalism for you to survive in the world that we've created now. But what truly matters at the end of the day? She's talking about a series. She's talking about Froyo. Oh, my days. That was my takeaway, guys. It was such a hard slap in the face to be like, hey, Adele, what truly matters? Please let me know what your takeaway from her entire story was. You can drop it in the comment section wherever you're listening to this on. Remember to check out our wellness talk deets I really want to see you there on the 25th of July. It's virtual, 10 a.m. East Africa time. Tickets are only 1,000 bob. Grab your tickets right now. Link in the show notes. The topic, of course, is divorce scare and making sure you get to the other side. You can put your head up and find yourself again. If while listening to Annkia's story, you feel motivated to share your story on this podcast, you're African, you're an African woman, you've got a story, it's valid, we want to hear it. Fill out our storyteller form. It's linked in the show notes, and one of our correspondents is going to get back to you. Oh my days. I've loved having you on this episode. Thank you for listening to the very end. And as usual, man, just remember that I truly believe that you have every single thing it takes to heal.
That's it for this episode of Legally Clueless. You can share this podcast with your friends. You can keep it for yourself. I'm not judging. Just make sure you're here next week for the next episode.